It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Hey, 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 good morning, Vietnam! Oh, wait, that's a movie. Hey, Blake's Buzz audience! It's YouTube. Hey, hi. How's it going? I saw a clip of that earlier, and I forgot about that movie until just now. That happened. All right, so, hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? Happy New Comic Book Day. It's Wednesday. I got a couple awesome guests to bring out and have fun with. And that was weird. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a good time. But we gotta do some advertisements. Cause I'm fucking like I'm Mr. Big Time shit now, right? So we gotta talk about some awesome comics. So let's just get right to it. Welcome to Omega City, where superheroes are publicly funded, and saving the day means big sponsorships and bigger payouts. The city's great champion, the hero, is a raging egomaniac who cares about nothing but himself and his precious Q score. But when he loses his powers to 10-year-old fanboy Hero, he is forced to reconcile with all his past selfish deeds. Heroes will fall, heroes will rise, and the world will never be the same. From Keenspot Publishing, writer Jeff McClellan and artist Michael Gecko Adams comes the premiere of Hero, which will drop in shops this month, July 23rd. This is good fun for all all nerds of all ages. See if your shops can still snag you a copy. They may be able to still get one, or you can pre-order directly from Keenspot. You can find that link in the description of the show. You should totally check it out. You can also hit up geckoadams.com to keep up with all the stuff he's doing. He's an amazing artist, amazing person, and you should totally keep your peepers on him. He's doing cool stuff. He's a good dude. He's also the reason why your boy's streaming. He was happy to sponsor the show and help get us back on the air. So that is awesome. And all right, so let's start bringing some people out, right? I got notes. I started doing notes. I'm trying to be professional, but it's hard. It's hard to read notes, click buttons, operate a sound thing, right? We'll get it there. We're trying our best. We're trying hard. All right. So our first guest, let's get, all right. So all right. Our first guest is a good friend from across the planet. Oh, yeah, right. He's from across the planet. He's written Nottingham, Monomyth, Kosher Mafia, and a lot more. And he's just getting started, folks. Let's bring out one of my favorite people, Mr. David Hazan. Oh, my goodness. Hello. Woo, baby. Hey, buddy.
Been a hot minute.
I know. I took a break. I went a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but it's okay. We're back now. We're back now. We're still a little weird. How are you? How are things? How's life?
Still a little weird as well.
Awesome. That's the theme of tonight's show. Every week I got to theme it. I'm tricking people. Like, it's like, I theme it, right? Like, oh, you doing a trade paperback? Like, oh, like tune in. And like, we'll talk about it a little bit, but we're like, it's me telling weird stories and probably talk about, drugs. But whatever. We're gonna talk about cool books because you got some cool ones to talk about, and I'm very excited. But we got one more awesome person to bring out real quick. Let me queue up some things. All right. So we have another writer. He has written Charred Remains, Shows In, and one of my favorite comics, Stargazer. He's here to talk about a killer new title, Buried Long, Long Ago. Let's bring him out, Mr. Anthony Cleveland! Step into the ring, sir! God, the production value on my show has skyrocketed. Can you guys believe it? Oh no, we lost him. Fuck. No. All right. Well, I guess let's real quick. We got say hi. We'll say hi to the chat. With Sarah Landauer multitasking will work again. But looking forward to another great show. Thanks, Sarah. I am too. We'll see what happens. Mr. Michael, let's go. All right. Hey, yeah. Can we hear you yet, Anthony? Can you hear me? No. Oh, something happened. He's using a microphone. microphone on a stick. We didn't know what was going to happen. We're playing Russian roulette.
I got you guys. You got me?
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you never know what's going to happen on a live stream. I've been side hustling. I'm editing and producing this month Prana's comic industry insider podcast, and I'm like editing, and I can like edit out the stuff, and like they do like audio checks, and we kind of do audio checks at the beginning, but you can only, one of the bummer things about this new platform that we're, is you can't adjust a lot of audio stuff. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird. Anyway, blah 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 blah. But I was like, I used to hate editing, but now it's different when you get paid for it, right? But still, I was like editing. I'm like, man, you're not live, and if something, you can just like, oop, cut it out. That never happened. You say something stupid, you're like, oop, cut it, doop doop. You say a joke, no one laughs, boop, cut that, boop, damn, bam, done. Anyway, you don't get that option now because we're live, but I love going live. Love going live with the awesome people that tune in and the awesome guests that I get. And both of you, you've been on the show a couple times, few times. I think David may be on 5 now. We're getting up there in our old age. In my old age, you're still young.
Charred, otherwise everybody just, he'll just run away with the record. So I have to do something.
Jared has he disappears from the internet and then comes back and does my show. I think he's been on like 5 times now too. So yeah, we don't have to buy you guys green jackets. I guess we do yellow jackets. I guess we do gold jackets. We do gold jackets. Or no, yellow jackets, like the show with a bee instead of a hornet and cannibals.
With the bee. Yep.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they eat people. Anyway, sorry, the show's been on a while. Don't get mad at me. Anyway, guys, you both have some cool stuff going on that I'm really excited to talk about. And you're both multifaceted storytellers. You can kind of hop around in genre and play around and things, but you both tend to, and I'm kind of just realizing this, which is neat. I'm a good host. You tend to play around in like history. I feel like you do a lot of research, especially like Anthony with Buried right now. That's based on. Is this the one that's like based on an old crime or an old mystery or something, like some like bodies that got buried or something? Like fill me in on
local
this.
true crime.
Okay. So that lady was crime. Real? Like that lady was on this earth and did these
right.
Fuck, right. Man. Like gold digger from your worst nightmare. Like, oh my goodness. Like this is like, oh yeah. All right. So yeah, how'd you find out about this crime? Let's start here.
Local story. They had an exhibit at a museum. I went there and they had a mannequin of the serial killer, and it freaked me out. And I've been freaked out since. And we did this book, which is that story, but greatly tweaked.
Okay.
To be like a fairy tale version of it, to depart from the true crimeness of it, I guess.
There is some like Hansel and Gretel fantasy horror vibes, which like David, you can vibe with that, I'm sure. But yeah,
spooky stuff.
You guys write kooky spooky stuff, but like good. I mean that in like the highest compliment. But you like I mentioned, like you guys dive into history. So like this is true crime. Like David went like back into like the roots of Nottingham and kind of retold like the Sherwood story and like all this crazy stuff. And and you kind of did it again. You sent me the short that you did for. I'm jumping all over the place, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm just excited. I've been nervous all day because of how excited I was to talk to you, but because I love you both so much. And I was like, how am I going to get both of these guys in the same room and be able to focus my conversation? We're going to quickly find out, folks. I can't. So that's like, I'm just going to be like, jump from like fawning from point A to point B. But I loved your Young Men in Love story. And it was, that kind of had fantasy vibes, and so did your Hello Darkness short, which also like kind of stemmed back into like literature history, right? Because it was very much like your own spin on your own Poe retelling kind of thing. Like I'm smart enough to pick that. If you told me like, what are you talking about? I would have been like, what? But
no, I was very much trying to hit people over the head with it. So I'm glad you picked that up.
Yeah. Oh, I think it says like Evermore in the final panel.
Yes.
I think, But how do you guys like the research? Because it's weird, right? Because it's you think I always called it like podcasting homework, right? Or like I associated it with like homework from school and like college and shit. But so it's weird because like you don't like homework typically. There are those people that like it. But I mean, do you guys really get into the research, and does it help you like with the narrative? Does it help you like take the story places you didn't expect? Even like with Buried Long Ago, like you're putting a spin on it, but did learning about some of these people in real life and some of these like actual shenanigans be like, oh, we could use that and like kind of do this. And the same with like, you know, when you're dealing with Robin Hood and how not heroic he is, you know, and all these things like that you guys, how much do you geek out on research in your narratives?
Well, I actually am the world's laziest researcher. Um, in that I will, especially with Nottingham, I'll find something in its industry and I'll just pull on the thread. Like I will, I don't need to like spend a lot of time verifying it. If it exists, you know, on Wikipedia or, you know, in some other, you know, untrustworthy corner of the internet, I don't care. If a pearl or gem of an idea for a story comes out of it, like I'm happy to take it for Nottingham. I feel like Kosher Mafia was very different because I think it was important for me to be really like historically on point. And even then, you know, I did some twisting and turning because we're writing fiction here. Like, we're allowed to do those things. But I think it's like really important for tone to like nail those things, and also it like it gives you automatic verisimilitude. People are like, oh, this is a thing that actually happened because you give them the appearance of having done more than lazy research. And they get a kick. The people who are history buffs get a kick out of it. The people who aren't learn something new. And if it's interesting enough, you can build your entire story around one historical detail that you were like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. And that's where all the story ideas for Nottingham came from.
Wow, laziness. It's interesting.
Yep.
Anthony, what about you? Do you believe in effort or
No, like I was like nodding along because I'm like, what, like if you do research, if you find that right thread, like David was talking about, it can make your story grow like crazy. It solved a lot of not problems, but like enriched, I should say, when I found little threads of the Belgunna story that no one really talked about. As far as the property before she started burying bodies on it, had a whole dark past that isn't really explored a whole lot in other Belgunna stories, I should say. So that kind of turned it into this whole darker horror story that also helped ground it a bit more into the fairy tale elements as well. It's pretty off the bat with the book. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, I think the Buried Long Ago, that was like years of research because, you know, I grew up with it. It's always been in the area. So the research was already there before the project started. It was pretty much done.
Okay.
I had read every book on her at the time and every documentary I saw. But I mean, there's other projects now where I'm just like, not lazy, but I'm like, let's get this going. Like, let's get this done. Let's learn everything we can and like get the pitch or whatever, the script going. Not quite laziness, but it's like, God, I want to get moving.
When you were learning about this, and how did you team up? Because I was like, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room. You're working with Alex Cormack on this, and
yeah,
he is just the absolute most god awful. I'm just kidding. He's a glorious human being. He's wonderful, and I hear he's very fast. And like, not only is he like wonderful and talented, but he's like really fast and usually like ahead of deadlines. But how did you get together with him? Because I feel like this is like, holy shit, man. Okay, I haven't experienced a page turn in a comic in a hot minute like that outhouse scene. Like when you turn the page and see the toilet, because I knew, man. I was like, something's in there, you know. I was like, what are we gonna say? I was excited, you know, and I was like, but I didn't know. And then I was like, oh, you know, I was like, these dudes came to play, you know. But how did you and Alex get? How did you get hooked up on this project? Like, how did you? Like, was he on there? Is he? Because he's done a lot of Mad Cave stuff. Was he just on their roster, or did you reach out?
No,
to him?
no. This was all creator owned. So this was us came together with Mad Cave. I just Twitter DM'd him like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And like we were almost signed with like 3 or 4 publishers over the course of 5 years. Kept getting canceled, ghosted, you name it. That happened to us. And then we went to Mad Cave. I mean, I think a little bit after they opened their creator-owned division, I guess. And then we got picked up there. But yeah, like it's just a Twitter DM, and he was on board for it.
Insane. Now, David, you've had your experiences with you know the downsides of indie publishing, right? You know, and it's you've had pitches turned down and moved around and delayed, and I don't understand this, and I'm an industry person. I'm still working in the industry a little bit, right? And it's like you read these books, like this book, this Buried Long Ago. You read it and it hits you in the guts, and it's like it's impactful horror and it's interesting, and then you know it's like based on a true story, so it hits that other itch, you know, that it's just like, oh, this evil is kind of real, and it's exciting, right? Because it's like evil's exciting. Watch the news. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, that's a bad joke. Anyway, but fuck, I just lost my train of thought. I try to be funny, and then it just fizzles.
We were talking about the vicissitudes of the publishing industry, specifically as they relate to comic books.
Oh yeah, but it's, you know, when these things these books come out and they get reviewed well, and it's like, wow, and you're like, yeah, like 5 publishers turned it down. Like, what is it? Is it the pitch format? Is it the, you know, are you tinkering with the pitches? Are you showing them different art? Are you like, or you know, is it just finding the right publisher with the right audience? Like, is there?
Yes.
It's
yes to all those things.
Okay. so like when you're pitching stuff around, that's like, are you? If someone turns it down, are you tinkering with your pitch packet, like whether they give you notes or not, like in between rounds?
It kind of depends. It really depends on who you're pitching it to next, and what the artist wants to do, and just how you're feeling about it generally. I feel like I would tweak it depending on the publisher, but that's like, you know, it's not necessarily an alchemy that ever works out in a measurable way, you know?
Yeah.
It's just you have to at some point trust your instincts about, you know, what having your finger on the pulse of the industry and the publisher. And if it fails, it fails. Like, that's the game, you know?
When we talked about researching for your stories, you know, people have mentioned a lot, like it's important to research where you submit stuff to, you know, whether it's poetry, short fiction, whatever, like, but a lot of people don't, right? A lot of people they'll be like, no, I'll send it everywhere, you know, and see if anybody bites. But like, do you both do a lot of research on who you, do you geek out a lot about that, on where you send pitches to, or like editors you try and reach out to? Like, do you stalk people a little bit?
Yeah, editors. Yeah, if someone's made something similar to what I have to share, yeah, I mean, for sure, I'll try to get to that editor for sure. Ask around for that editor's contact. But yeah, it's kind of want to know who you're sharing to and what they've passed on. Talk to other, you know, creators out there.
Yeah,
and see what works for others and what doesn't work. And that's a good way to get a good read.
Like if you talk
the
to like
only
4
way
people,
not to get a good read is to ask them what they're looking for. You'll never get an answer that satisfies you.
Are you allowed to answer this, David? And if not, that's fine. But like, is there anything that you have out right now that your comics get reviewed fairly well? And I've reviewed some of them fairly well. And it's like, you know, but do you, of anything you have published, did you have a hard time with any of them, particularly getting them out there?
I think most, I mean, there were a few that kind of sort of happened. Nottingham is kind of the obvious example, but like even Kosher Mafia went through some no's before I got a yes, and like, yeah, it's just it is a numbers game, but you also want to put yourself in the like best place to succeed, and that often involves forming a relationship with an editor. That's again just kind of how you do the thing, you know.
Are you still because you've you've got the sci-fi project, the Requiem
On
yeah.
Kickstarter, yeah.
Are you still or do you pitch that in between Kickstarter rounds, or are you still? Or are you
I
guys
haven't
just
in a hot minute.
crowdfunding?
We have sort of shopped it around a little bit, but we haven't, I guess, put the full force of our combined pitching power behind it at this stage. I think because we're content to try to finish it on Kickstarter, and so if we see an opportunity, we'll go as far down that road as people will let us. But yeah, otherwise we're content to keep finishing this thing on Kickstarter. And Phil is drawing issue 3 at the moment, and I think issue 4 and 5 are going to be just a double issue finale. That's kind of what we've been throwing around. So there'll be a bigger sort of final Kickstarter for the last 2 issues.
Nice. I like a big, thick, girthy issue. I don't know where you thought I was going with that, but but I mean, like,
it landed in the right place.
It always does. But Charlie Stickney does that now with White Ash. Typically, like he typically drops like double-sized issues, to help it saves with shipping and it, instead of doing like one every other month or every month on Kickstarter. I know some people are trying to do Kickstarters monthly and doing it, but yeah, I think the bigger, the big bang, especially if it's the finale, right? Because then you don't have to wait. It's just you get it and you just get to hit it. Because yeah, that's a dope book. And Phil's art is so. I love Phil. Phil sent me art. That was so cool. That was ridiculous.
He's such a sweetheart.
He said he was like I have never had a good time on a podcast before. That's not really what he said. If friends are out watching there, they're like, I interviewed him. I'm kind of kidding, but he was like, I just don't like these, man. And yours was so fun. And he was like, we were laughing and joking. And I was like, cool, sweet. Cause I'm always worried. Like people are like, I thought we were here to talk about my book, not like fart jokes. Whatever.
The fart jokes make people want to buy the book.
Right? Yeah, they're like you start laughing, you'll buy anything. It's like it's like in RoboCop. They're all laughing all the time. Like, I'll buy that for $1, right? That's the same philosophy. It's the same 1980 or 89. I'll buy it for $1. Whatever that movie came out. Anyway, Anthony, I love every time I talk to you, you got like cool horror movies playing behind you, and I like he was fast forwarding through a part of Evil Dead that we probably shouldn't have shown on live YouTube, but I appreciate that. Thank you, because I was 7 episodes back. If I already got banned, I forgot to mention I'm nominated for an award. So that's crazy. I'm 7.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I forgot what the award's called. It's the comic book community award. There's like different tiers for like subscriber counts. But yeah, I guess someone nominated me. Now I have to fucking campaign and take it seriously and get mad when I don't get it. It's gonna be like the Ringos for me. But anyway, that's cool. So thanks for not getting me kicked off YouTube while I'm in the process of trying to win the gold and the glory.
So I'm not supposed to just like list off these lists of expletives and slurs, right?
No, we can say it. Well, we can say some things, but probably not the slurp. We're not those kinds of people. We're the good internet comic book nerds, folks. This is the safe zone, the fun house. This is the ball pit that you can leave. Nope. All right. That's good. Just stop it. Just stop it. All right. Good night, folks. No, I am really excited, because both of you keep dropping bangers, and it's crazy, and I love that like so much of your stuff is coming from Mad Cave. Like, by the way, if y'all are interested in checking out either of these writers, I'll make it super easy for you. Go to madcave.com and you will find a lot of what they have, and a lot of that stuff is great. They have stuff extending beyond there to explore too. But I also think Mad Cave's having a digital summer sale right now, so you may be able to snag some graphic novels. Like there's 3 epic volumes in Nottingham. There's fucking Stargazer shows in. You may be able to snag some single issues. I don't know. Is the trade out for Kosher Mafia?
Yeah,
Is
yeah, it came
okay.
out in March, I want to say.
Oh shit, months ago. Cool.
Been out a hot minute. Yeah.
Shit, all right.
And it looks gorgeous. They put a lovely little spot gloss on it, and
Ooh,
yeah.
I love the wraparound, like the back cover image, the hand with the like in the blood. Like, oh, dude, I love that on those issues. Like, it's such a beautiful book. I remember. Man, maybe not the last time we talked, but it was a while. I think it was you and Alex did it.
That tracks.
For the book from the publisher that shall not be named. But you know, I can't talk. But after the show, you like were showing me covers and art, and you were like, you can't say anything, but you were like so excited about like the artists that you were working with on this, and finally getting to like read it. And see, like, just dude, you're so good. It's so funny because you're so nice. Anthony, you too. You're just very nice people, and you craft these really fucking gruesome scenes, y'all. Like it's kind of intense. The stuff you come like it's mean and it's bloody and it's gritty, and you seem to just kind of effortlessly come up with different ways and fun ways to murder people. How do you challenge yourself in those ways? Anthony, let's start with you. How do you challenge yourself to like, I need to repulse my reader, but also keep them on board? That's a tough game to play. And I think, and by both of you, both to cliche saying it, both of you beat around that bush in good ways. But like, how do you challenge yourself to be meaner, but also not too mean, not too bloody, not too gross?
I mean, I got a pretty good threshold of what works and what doesn't work, just as far as like what I want to see. I mean, when you look in that, you know, outhouse hole, what would be the worst thing to see? And that's what we put in there, you know, as a kid, what would be the worst thing to see? And that's what we did.
Ooh,
but yeah,
I like that thought process as a kid. I like thinking like that. Like as a kid, what would really scare you? Because like those fears easily come back. I feel like no matter how old you are.
Yeah, that was a big part of Buried in general, is just the childhood fears. And even though it's a period piece, like kids are afraid of toilets, you know, that can carry over. Kids are afraid of what's outside in the dark. All that stuff carries over. But I mean, yeah, it was just like thinking about, you know, and I kind of know what would be too edgy and don't go there. I mean, that's not true. That's not true. There's charred remains. Charred remains is like, there's stuff that they talk about on the page that we didn't draw, so there is restraint there. There's a scene where he's talking about kids getting burnt in, like, I don't know if it was an orphanage or something like that, where the doors were sealed, and he has dreams about dancing along with the kids, and we didn't draw any of that. That was just, I thought that would work better if that could take place in your mind, you know, if those images could take place in your mind, which is something that's fun with horror comics. We don't get a chance to do, a lot of writers don't get a chance to do as often, as just write it, don't show it, you know, have the characters talk about it. I was just kind of thinking about like that scene in Jaws where Quinn's talking about the Indianapolis going down. And that's probably the scariest scene of the movie, when he's talking about the sharks and what they did to them in the water out there. That stuff carries pretty well. And Stephen King does that too. He'll have his characters talk about stories that happened in the past, like Zelda from Pet Sematary, things like that. I think when you can do that in a comic book, but like I said, not show it, you can actually make it a lot more scary for the readers.
What about you, David? Because like I feel like you also get a little you get a little leeway when you're fucking killing Nazis, you know, and you're just like, you know, you're like, well, you know, like curb stomp them. Who gives a shit, right? You know, and it's just like show their brain splatter in the corner of the panel. But what's it like there? Because there's obviously, like, especially with looking at the everydayness of you know, parts of the world right now. You know, my part of the world, you're luckily not trapped in. You know, you guys have your own issues, but you know, whatever. But you know, like seeing these things happen, you know, there's some like, oh yeah, like, oh, like, you know, like if I get my hand, you know, whatever. I don't want to, like, you know, say like you'd murder people easily, but you know, there's just like when you get to, you know, exercise some of that violence on the page and like get some of those demons out, get some of that anger out. But you all at the same time, like, has Matt Cave ever been like, hey man, like guns are cool, but like we've killed too many people, on the spread or something? Like, have they just kind of been like, dude, you're good at murder?
Yeah, there was one thing that we wound back on Kosher Mafia. It did not come from me. Sammy did a thing, which turned into something that you've mentioned, and the first iteration of it was probably a little too far. That said, I think, and that was a cover that got changed. I would say the primary driving force behind any kind of violence is like the thematics of the overall conflict, right? So in issue 2 of Kosher Mafia, there is a like very brutal action scene which cuts between the two different characters. If you just look
intense, but like the tension was crazy, dude. Like,
yeah.
Butter
but like
knife through the atmosphere. Like, it was like I was in like Jello reading that. It was like everything was like slow mo, like turn. Oh, that was.
Thank you.
Bravo.
You look at like you look at Howard's sort of like ends up in this brawl with a young Nazi, right? And they're fighting for control over this gun, and someone gets shot, right? And it's like metaphorically, it's sort of about, like how far is Howard willing to go to seize control of his own life, as sort of laid out in this brawl over this gun. And like, so any sort of action scene, I'm not necessarily thinking about, okay, how far can I go? It's more about how can I align the action with the overall themes of the story. So if it needs to go far, it's gonna go far. You've seen that on the page. But it all starts, I guess, with theme and character, right?
Okay, I love that. I mentioned the tension of that scene. Like, it was like two intense scenes juxtaposed on one another, right? And it was just like breathless moments back and forth, not knowing what was going to happen. And then like when the gun, like when the gun from the previous panel like is going to fire, and you get the sound effect in the other scene, and anyways, another great page turn, because you don't know who gets shot. I don't want to spoil stuff. You guys need to go read fucking Kosher Mafia, though. My God, the trade's out. It's on sale. Go get it. Anyways, both of you are really good at tension, dude. The Buried long ago. The title itself kind of gives tension, right? Like the two longs and there's kind of this pause and this lingering and this like, I don't know, there's like a length of trauma in the title. It's kind of weird. I was thinking about that in a way, and maybe I was thinking about it when I was stoned, and maybe that was why, but I don't know, whatever. But it made me think, and it, as I think any good title should, but I think intriguing horror titles that say a lot by saying a little, right? I think you can always go back to like whatever you think about the series, but like Something is Killing the Children, like it's a good title, man. Like you're just like, oh, what is eating the children? Like, we should find out, right? Like we should go investigate anyway. And this kind of has that, right? Is there's like there's history and duration and like a story to explore just in the title, but there's a lot of tension in this too. There's like tension around chores. There's like, dude, I'll tell you one thing, anybody ever offers me an orange, I'm gone. Like, I will never ever take an orange from a friend, foe, or stranger after reading this. But there's this you and Alex build a really great tension on like who's gonna get the offer next, right? Who's gonna get basically the short straw kind of situation, right? And just that kind of lingering in the atmosphere of the story creates an insane amount of tension. And then you dive in with these like horrific scenes and these bloody scenes and ponytails. Oh god damn, dude, it's so good.
You read issues.
I know I can't.
You read the new one.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I can't. He said I probably it's not there yet. It's not even on the hub yet. So yeah, but anyway, it's good. There's blood and scary things and good. It's creepy. It's really creepy. How do you do that? Because I've always heard tension is like when it's grounded in normalcy, right? Like did I remember to lock the door? Right, like you're driving, you're caught in traffic. Like, oh shit, did I leave the iron on? Did I leave the oven on? Is the dog out? Did I, it's like, shit, did the dog in? Do they have water? And it's just like, you start thinking about this and then your cell phone's ringing something, like it's just little things start to add up and build like these kind of big moments of like, heavy breathing, high pulse rates. But you guys are dealing with some different shit here, right? Okay. There's espionage and Nazi killing. There's a fucking mom that like anybody who says they got issues with their mother, you've never met this woman. My God. But like, there's this mother and like just her looking at you and her facial. I mean, just, you guys build tension strategically in ways I don't see a lot. You're both really good at it. How did you get to this? Where did you learn to do this with like structure and pacing? Like, did you just learn, like, did you learn it from reading a lot of comics? Did you learn it from watching a lot of horror movies? Like, what's up? What about you, David?
I don't know.
Sweet.
Just nailing the pace.
I mean, timing. That's good. That was a good timing.
I'm just having a look at this book. I want to know what all the fuss is about. It's been a while since I hit the Mad Cave Hub.
Oh yeah, Anthony's new book. Oh, it's good. Man.
Oh yeah.
Well, Anthony, what about you, man? Like, what do you like? Where do you get your attention? Like, because it's got to be from some kind of, I mean, not necessarily like firsthand experience, right? But just like this stuff that makes like what makes you, because you watch a lot of horror movies and you're like a horror nerd. What makes you like hold your breath? Like, what kind of stuff freaks you out?
What scares me? I mean, I don't know, shit.
Nothing anymore.
There's some
the
things.
World is hell.
It's like, what horror movies like get me, or even any kind of horror, it's like, when it's in a different genre, firmly in a different genre, and it switches to horror. I think that's a good curveball to get. Hereditary did a good job at that, because it's like, this is a horror movie. With like the first act, it's like, this is a horror movie, then it turns into a family drama, and then it hits the fucking gas on horror in the third act. That's a good one. But I think like for storytelling and comics and pacing, I don't think there's been a bigger influence for me than manga. Nice. What they do with the real estate and page space there is probably what I copy the most. But yeah, they're definitely those two. I mean, like, another thing too is like with movies, I like movies where you really care about the characters. And I know something I was trying to do with the Buried long ago is definitely make those kids likable. Almost, Spielberg fun, Jordan Peele feel to it.
No, I felt like Jurassic, like kind of being as a kid, because like we are over and burdened right now with Jurassic Park media with the new movie, right? But I'm like, I love dinosaurs and I'm kind of digging it. But I remember seeing that as a kid and like having a crush on the kid actor, and being like, oh, like, and just like, but that connectivity with them, like it was very real, and you experience that trauma with them, and then watching it like even older now is just like, you're like, fuck, I couldn't even imagine being a kid. Like I was so stupid. Like I was so dumb. I would never survive anything, but I wouldn't, and I wouldn't now either. Like I'd be the one you want around, because I'm like big and slow, and like you could run faster than me and be like, Blake, I'm sorry, and I'll be like, I get it. It's like, remember me. It's like, anyway, but I can see how some manga influences your stuff, because you have a heightened pace. And I like that about manga. It's how cinematic and the heightened pace of it. Cause like, some people do, like some of those volumes you can tackle in like the amount of time it takes to read like a one shot. of a
Sure.
Western one shot, right? Especially
Yeah.
like if it's a little dialogue heavy, right? Because I mean, some of those pages like move. Some of those pages may have a couple words on them, so like you're flying with the art most of the time, and you don't have to take a lot of breaks to read. So like manga moves so much faster, and your narratives do that, but I feel like that's kind of tricky too, because if you start moving too fast, because you have to find moments to linger on to like make me care about the characters. Like David, I was shocked in the shorts you gave me, like how like, oh shit, like first of all, you got me like, because we've been a couple episodes ago, like Jared Luhan was talking about like the power of storytelling and like fucking really getting into it, and it was inspiring as fuck. And I was like, God damn, hell yeah! But I read your short from Young Men in Love, the new one, and from Wave Blue World, and the way it ends with like how like the power, you kind of like the power of story, it's the power of storytelling, like it's the lie and the truth simultaneously. That dude, you got me good. I was like God damn, man. And so like that happened, but even before that final moment, you only had a few pages to really get us into these characters, and it's that really impressed me, and to do that in a short time. And Anthony, I felt that in your stuff too, like with Stargazer, with the brother, and it was just like that relationship was like that struggled relationship, and they kept getting, it was like you kept bringing them closer while moving them farther apart, and it was so heartbreaking. And I was just like, fuck, I can't believe you guys can manipulate my emotions. Like, as a reader, it seems like you do it easy. I know there's a lot of thought process, and you guys like visualize your characters. I hope it's hard for you. It should be. But it's you both do that really well. You present these characters that in a short amount of time. I'm like, damn, man. And then you let me read the third issue of your new book, and I'm like, damn, man. Like, fuck. What makes a character? Because everybody says like we need character flaws, and some of your characters aren't perfect, but I wouldn't. They're not like fuck ups, like peeling needles off their arms, and climbing out of a gutter, right? But what do you think makes a good character, Anthony? That makes someone worth sticking around and rooting for, and people that are like stressing out watching their journey.
I mean, it helps if you align with their goal, or at least sympathize with the goal, for sure. I mean, like, I think the person that kind of got me to step up my character work was probably Jared, for sure. I think we were on a show together, and I was talking about how I didn't want to dip into real life to make my characters better. And, Jared's all about doing that. Like, that's what makes his stuff great. And I'm like, okay, like, I'll try. And that's what happened to Stargazer. That was my brother. That was me. Not Shozan. Well, Charred Remains is kind of me dealing with the coroner stuff. And then very long ago, the hardest part with that book, I swear, was just getting those kids right. I didn't know how to write those kids or where to pull that idea from. And then I'm like, I have 3 kids. I have they're the same ages as these kids in the story. I can do that. So they're spot on, my kids.
Oh wow.
That's what made that all come together.
Does that fuck with you, like building like archetypes of people close to you and then doing terrible things to them in the story? Like, are you like,
no?
There's a good separated enough. Like,
yeah, that's a good separation, and like mostly. I mean, Buried's pretty tough. Because that's the kids, but like with Stargazer, that was pretty easy because that wasn't, that was just kind of what to build off of.
Yeah. Okay.
From there. I mean, I did this.
Wasn't really abducted by aliens.
Right.
I mean, we can get weird. Be honest, Anthony isn't.
Yeah.
No one's gonna judge you. They may be out there. I don't know. No, that's cool. I've talked to you a couple times about that book now. I didn't know that was like. It's kind of built from an experience with your brother. That's cool. I think that makes a lot of sense because that's where, my sister and I's relationship, even though I'm kind of like the weirdo family that like everybody's like someone might need to take care of him, but it's fine. We're not here to talk about that anyway. But anyways, I connected with a lot of that there. but like David, how you had to kind of do that? You had to win an audience over too, because you especially with Nottingham, like you flipped the script. You took you took the mythos of a character and like made it evil almost, right? Made him like a you made Robin Hood something we've never seen. It wasn't what is his name? What is it? Prince of Thieves. It wasn't Kevin Costner.
No, it wasn't
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner. No. Yeah, look, I think the characters in Nottingham sort of all fell into, because like the premise, right, is that we're turning it into a noir. And obviously we kind of sort of spin off beyond that the later you get. But the initial premise is this is Robin Hood is a noir where the sheriff is a detective. So like all of the characters sort of fell into their natural archetypes really quite quickly. And I was just kind of able to work with that. And they're also complex and horrible human beings that it just makes them so much easier and so much more fun to write. I definitely think I had a harder time with characterization on Kosher Mafia because there was like a lot of real people that I was drawing on. If you even look at the sort of cadence of the dialogue, um, like there was a lot of real people that I was drawing on when I was writing that, and given how close to home it was, that was much harder. I think it does give you like fertile storytelling ground when you draw more directly from your real life, but it also just makes the job a lot harder, a lot more, I guess, emotionally complex to try and get all that stuff onto the page.
Is that Anthony? Is that why you had kind of a hesitancy? Hesitancy. There we go. Is that why you kind of had a moment of like you didn't want to put a lot of your real self? Because you mentioned like it took getting nudged in that direction to kind of let yourself do that. Like what kept you from kind of, because I feel like it's so, especially as like a young writer, like I remember like old workshops and stuff, as it was like, what the fuck do I write about? You know, like when you like take that first writing course and they're like, tell a story, and you're like, oh no, I'm boring. It's like,
Yeah.
but like I feel like even when you're like, oh no, I'm boring, you find something like a kernel that intimately that you can kind of spin into a tales. Like that's usually like where people start, and you were like, I don't want to do that. So like fill me in there.
It was some weird writers thing. It was like I got good ideas up here. I don't need to put real life in there yet. I'll save that for when I run out of good ideas, kind of thing. It was just like, no. Like it definitely makes it enriches things, and it makes, I think, the reader experience better, and it makes the writing a lot easier for me. So yeah, like just taking the time to really think about the folks too, that I want to model them after, goes a long way. And what I want to take, what I don't want to take also. But no, it was just me being lazy, like not lazy, but like I thought I saw it as lazy at the time.
Okay.
And I thought like, I could imagine more things than just relying on real life or using real life as a crutch. That's kind of how I saw it. Like and that's not where I'm at now, and that's not what I advise anyone else to do. Definitely pull from real life. Like I said, it's going to enrich your stories for yourself and the readers.
I think so too. I know there's there's still people out there that are like, well, I mean, you can beat people, you can like really hammer something home in a narrative, you're right, but like I still don't like those people that are like, there's these people like, I just want to read Captain America, not like Mark Waid's Captain America. Like I do want to read Mark Waid's Captain America. That's like I want like I'd like to read. I don't know how either of you would fucking do it, but I'd read David Hazan's Captain America. I'd read Anthony Cleveland's Captain America. Like I would love. I could see like David. I could see you doing like a cool World War II. Like I like how you'd go like back in time and do history. I kind of work with Chip Zdarsky now, so I can like. I'm just kidding. I know.
Weirdly,
I'll be like, Chip, let me know when you're hopping off Captain. I got some people we got to line up.
Weirdly, I don't usually have, oh, this is my like, this is my take on Batman. I don't have it because nobody's like, the amount of work it takes to get to the point where people are asking you that question. Like, they're never asking you what's your take on Batman. It's like, what's your take on Batman? These are the 3 events that are currently on right now. You also have to fit into like this overall status quo. So like, I feel like having the pitch in the chamber is not like, it's not particularly helpful. But I did have a killer one for like last year that I was mulling over for Captain America. And I was like, damn, that would be good and would kind of fit into like, it would be malleable enough to fit into whatever was, editorial was asking for. But I don't usually come at these things with a pitch in the chamber. But I think that one would work really well.
Nice.
So I'm gonna keep that one to myself and rant about something that I'm not gonna talk to you.
Well, yeah, you have to, right? Because you can't like. I mean, I guess you could make a zine. There's a TikToker right now that has like a substantial amount of followers that's like making his own Red Hood comic. Like he's a legit like the art, but he's paying some dude to do the art, and they're like
the fun eternal gray area of how much fan art before DC decides to take notice.
Right? Yeah. But it's I would have never thought like. Especially, man, if I could not imagine, and then maybe it works for some people, but like if art gets expensive, even if you're getting a deal, even if it's not great, it's going to start adding up, especially like like if it's like a multiple issue thing, it's, and it's just like to pay that on a story that like will never be yours, you could never, you can't kickstart it. You can't like, it's just, I don't know, but whatever, like, whatever gets the followers. If I get 50,000 followers, I will. I'll do a Captain America zine by Blake Morgan. I don't know how we'll pay for it because I don't know. I don't even know how these lights are on right now. But hey, whatever. Like,
if you had 50,000 followers, you probably would be able to keep the lights on.
Right? Yeah, I could probably get maybe I get another ad for the start of the show. Anyway, but books, comics. I had a question for you. Like, David, do you think do you have any interest or ideas? I know if you do, you can't really talk about it, but like, what is it, like neo noir, like modern noir? Because I see you I see you dipping your toes into like noir in like different moments of history, and I like you're approaching current stuff, or like a weird 80s neon noir, like I don't know, like have you thought about modernizing? I guess
you've read one from me.
That's true.
At least part of it.
Yeah. I was just it had like the humor elements in it. It's like a I don't know, like a bombastic noir, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, it's it's hard. It's different.
It's not muted, but
yeah.
like it is. I think it like Death Drop Drag Assassin, for those of you who don't know. It is different, but at its heart, it's a neo noir. It's got all those like sort of like colorful elements, but they exist as sort of a facade on the darker interiority of the characters. That's why all of those bright colors exist in that book, and it's a hell of a time to write. And hopefully you should be seeing the full first volume towards the end of this year. The art's done. We're just sort of waiting on a few tweaks and on some lettering. And hopefully we should get that from mystery publisher number 7.
I was gonna say, like, are you allowed to? I didn't know if you were gonna.
I mean, I'm sure I'm allowed to say things.
Is it yours though? It's now?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely
yours? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know. Like for real, I forgot to ask you about it, and I was like. That's why I've tiptoed around it, because I was like, I'm so bad about that. I'll be like, how is your dad? And they'll be like, oh, he died last week. And I didn't want to be like, let's talk about this fucking comic that you have all this drama with, so anyway, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
We found a new home, hopefully coming out later this year. It just depends on mostly not to lay the blame on Alex, but they have, two big book market publisher books that they're working on. So they're just trying to fit the tweaks to some of the pages in between that. So,
Yeah, they shared some. I'm so happy for Alex, like fucking killing it, and so well, like so talented and well deserved. But yeah, no, that's so cool because I remember when some of that shit was going down. It really bummed you out, and it's so many people, and I can talk about. I have experience with this now. It's especially this industry. It's like a lot of people get bummed or get fucked and walk away, and it's and as someone who's like I'm trying to pick myself up right now and stay in the industry, and it's fucking hard. It's like and but yeah, you always get worried when someone gets like fucked over or stomped on, and it's not to say like I think you're like a weak person that's just gonna be like, I'm not gonna ever get my feelings hurt again, but it like just it sucks, and
yeah, it does,
and you have a day job and a career and things going, and so it's like like a lot of times you think about it. I've thought about that, like like fucking all my friends do insurance claims and they hate their lives, but they make lots of money, like and it's like anyway, but so
I think it helps. Like I think it helps that, and Anthony can probably speak to this too, is that this all kind of happened, by happenstance, really. I'm a good writer, but like the majority of this, thinking of this as a secondary career, has really come about by mostly by chance. And so I'm writing it out, man, through all of the weirdness, multiple publishers doing strange things, but here we are,
strange things. That's one way to put it. Anthony, I am interested in your take on that, because you've talked to me, we've a little bit on air and some off air, but you've had some struggles in indie publishing and some cool stuff that didn't take off, and some struggles and some delays, and you've had some cool where Charred remains fucking dope, dude, and this like I'm so excited to see how Buried long ago it winds up, right? And so like you've had some cool stuff drop since some of your struggles, but like how do you go about the like David said, the kind of the weirdness of the landscape that we're all fucking crab walking through?
I mean, it's
why do I say these things?
I got you.
It's not inaccurate.
I mean, there's a threshold, and like I'm about there, but I mean, like don't walk away from. I don't know. I don't want to encourage anyone to walk away from publishing. Maybe take a break, hit the indies. Maybe it's not just work. Maybe you need to go back and help other people, bring other people up, mentor, do something, do some editing gigs, anything like that. I mean, like I said, just take a break from publishing, because publishing sucks. I've never worked in a more unprofessional industry in my life. Like the way that these people treat other creators is ridiculous. The communication is garbage across the board, mostly, except for the one that I work with the most. That one is very, very good. And that's not just me saying that to save face. Like it's. I thought every other publisher would be as good as them. Mm-hmm. They are not. None of them come close. None of them do half of what The Cave does. It's just insane. Like I thought that was the standard. That's where I started, so I thought that's where everyone else would be. And even when I started with them, they were a new company, a new publisher, like I think 3 or 4 titles at the time. And then just the way that they were operating then, I thought that was the standard. It's not. It's not at all. Not even close. I mean,
remember the days when you used to submit an invoice and you used to get paid that day? Wild.
Yeah. No, yeah.
No, even my like even my old job, like I live paycheck to paycheck. I do, and it's and it was like I got paid once a month, and I would always have to remind my boss, like, hey dude, like, hey, like PayPal.
Yeah.
PayPal, please, because like my bank and PayPal like each other, so like the transfer happened fast, Like I wouldn't have to like pay like the extra money to like send it, but like, you know, I was like, God damn, man. And it's just like, even when, yeah. And it's, you know, it sounds like that's like, it's a norm. It's not just like, I'm not trying to save my old boss's face, but fuck, like,
No,
you know,
I'm
it
gonna
just
dunk on
sucks. It's just like,
comics.
you should know, like, oh, I owe this guy money. I should pay him. I
Yeah, I
had
mean,
someone,
it's more than just pay it. Like I feel like, oh, I'm gonna get mean. I think a lot of the people in publishing, I swear to God, I'm working with children half the time. Just the way that these folks act online, the way that they act in the emails, the way they don't reply to emails, it's awful. Like I don't know if a lot of these folks haven't grown up or what, but just the way they act and the way they treat creators, not just me, like, yeah, hear about everybody else. It's like, yeah, there's something wrong out there. A lot of these places, and a lot of these places I'm talking about have fucked off to oblivion. So it's okay to talk about them that way. But, or yeah, we'll cut it there.
no, I like one thing I don't get about you guys. I think you guys both mentioned it. Is like the not responding to emails thing, and it's so weird how like this industry operates like fucking Tinder. Like, no, I'm bored, or you're kind of worthless, so I'm just gonna ghost you. You know, or it's like,
like the one line email is like, it's a really powerful tool that people should use more. My personal perspective is 99% of the time it's not the fault of the boots on the ground. So it's not the editor that is ghosting you. That it's 99% of the time not their fault.
okay,
They are overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. I will say that. However, and I've had this experience now where I've, you know, sent a follow-up email after a convention to an editor. Okay, just saying, hey, I'd love to send you some of my stuff. It was really great meeting you. Just like really basic stuff. 7 times out of 10, I get ghosted, which is fair. But the 3 times out of 10, or the 1 time out of 10, they're like, yeah, and they follow up on it. The other 2 times where you get a, hey, I'm really busy right now. I'm acknowledging your email. I still do want to read your stuff. I'm just busy right now. Those are the ones that have actually ended in work. Those 2 out of
okay,
out of 10, because like it shows that they care and that you're not being ignored, and that like all of that work that you put in to build that connection actually, you know, did something, even if it's not going to do something right now. A year down the road, 2 years down the road, it may. And it validates the investment of your time in building that connection, and also acknowledges the fact that I am a person coming to an editor with a business opportunity which could make the people they work for money. Like, you know, it acknowledges the commercial reality of the situation, which I think gets lost on a lot of interactions in comic books. Is that like, we as creatives, like the industry sort of tries to brainwash us into thinking that we're not worth anything, but you know, we as the creatives are really the core of what drives this whole engine.
that's fucking crazy because it really it's because it is crazy because you always hear like people don't get like page rates, and people, and if you look at like big 2 creators, and like Ed Brubaker was very vocal about it with like the Winter Soldier and stuff, and it was like, you know, they gave him like $500 and offered to fly him out to the premiere or something, right? And something like kind of offensive like that, and it's just like they don't really take care of the people that make them money, and then sometimes they don't even take care of like the product. You know, like I mean, so like I've heard stories. Well, I mean, I'm sure you both experienced this, like design issues that maybe you didn't have a part of, or were done without your knowledge, or design issues that had an issue and were sent out anyway so like someone maybe didn't know. Like I remember there was a book that went out that like didn't have lettering at that it was one of Pat Shan's books went out like, or only half of it was lettered, and like, you know, that's insane. Like something got printed and went to stores that had like almost all the lettering missing. Like that's fucking gnarly. But like I don't know, like, what is it like that publishers need to learn? Because I remember I asked this at a Mad Cave panel in Kansas City a couple years ago, and Cullen Bunn told me he was like, it's like some people take on too much, and then you get into like a oh no territory, and when you get into oh no, you have to like pretend you're not in oh no territory, right? And so it's like you have to have this face of lies for the public. I get, but it's
I've seen that.
What do you guys like as creators that like when you guys have cool books that at publishers, right? You're not necessarily crowdfunding some of this stuff, right? But like what do you think other publishers could learn from? I don't want to like kiss Matt. I don't want to say like, I'm sure Mad Cave's not perfect. I love them. They've always been super kind to me, but like there's still a business and there's still a lot of money, right? And so there's always like money and marketing and units and shit like that gets talked about that takes the humanity away from some situations. That's publishing. That's going to happen. But what do you think some people could learn, Anthony? You said you get angry again. Get angry again.
I have a feeling I know which interaction you're talking about, so it's just making me.
There's too many. There's too fucking many. There's three that I've had a big problem with. One's kind of gone, one's totally gone, and one's still trying to get more money, I guess I should say. I don't know. Like, I don't know where to start, to be honest. I mean, like, I really just like communication. I mean, like, I don't like ghosting. I don't like going through the process of going to meeting, and then getting led along for months, me not canceling work, but, taking time off to go to this stuff. And then getting totally ghosted when it comes to the point of getting a green light, and then just getting totally ghosted. You can tell me to fuck off. At least there's finality there. But just not to say a simple no, sorry for this. I mean, you don't have to say sorry. Like I could accept the fuck off, like I said, but just to know that we're done here is fine. So I just basic courtesy, basic professionalism. I think that's it. Like that's the answer right there is basic professionalism. I mean, it's
crazy when you could just respond to it. Like responding to an email shocks people sometimes. They're like, "Oh wow, people do that."
Yeah, I had one person apologize to me for replying to an email 2 days after they received one from me, and I was like, 2 days. This is like a speedy reply in comics time. Like, it's
you're right.
Why are you apologizing?
Yeah.
Sarah Landauer says in the chat, she's like, it's really not hard to be like respectful of people in your time. She's also an indie creator. But yeah, I think I don't want to say that there's no respect in this industry because I don't want to sound hopeless because I love comics and I love this, and I personally like struggle to try and stay in this industry, but there is a callousness, I think, right? There's a callousness and an unsurety and a weird trepidation, and it all stems from, and it all comes back to kind of miscommunication, and it's just kind of weird, and maybe that's like a human flaw because I feel like these are so what has gone wrong in the world, right? That like doesn't really stem from miscommunication, but when you get paid for it, like you should. I know you get burdened and like there's an influx and the emails never stop, but like when there's money involved, I think you should respond to it. I'm sorry, I do. I really do. I think, or even if you miss it and someone's like, hey, a couple weeks ago I emailed it, then like, oh shit, then you should really respond to that one. And that's again, these are rare instances. Like sometimes 3-4 follow-ups even, and it's just like, do I keep following up? And I've had people tell me, yeah, you do. And I've had people tell me like after 3 times, like 3 strikes, you're out, maybe a 4 if you got a weird itch or something.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have a rule on that? Like following
basically
up?
That. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. A few times and then, not all at once, space it out over a month or two because people got stuff going on. I understand that, there could be big issues going on in their life, but over the course of 6 months, sending 3 or 4 emails. Yeah. You're being a dick.
Yeah. That's so weird.
And it's not that hard to, like say no. It's just like
Mhm.
it's really not that hard. But I think my answer to your question, Blake, probably has its foot in the same camp as Anthony's. But it's something that Amit Tischler actually pointed out to me, where he's like, I'm not just looking for someone to put out my book. I'm looking for somebody to be a business partner. And if they can behave like a business partner instead of, for example, treating you like an employee, which some publishers love to do, right? Where like we're giving you money, you do the thing. That's the extent of the and sometimes it is in that, either you're working for hire or you're working on licensed stuff, but
Sure.
with creator owned, I want that publisher to be my business partner in this. And if they can demonstrate, an aptitude for collaboration, and instead of, for example, not telling me things, and keeping information to themselves, then like we can keep doing this.
Yeah, that's another one. Information to themselves is a big thing, keeping us in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not trying to build tension in this narrative. Like you don't have to
'cause
string
they're
us
afraid
along
of-
with breadcrumbs and
Information is power, right? And they're afraid that giving that information gives us
Right.
power. And they're also, like, a lot of publishers are also looking at the relationship not in the microcosm of the single interaction you're having, but the sort of overall trajectory of the future interactions that you might have. And that's something to think about.
yeah.
And that
Michael,
was as
Michael in
vague
the-
as I could get it. But I had a friend who's like had a contract negotiation fall over. I was like, this isn't about you. This is about the trajectory of all future deals that go through your agent. That's why this is happening.
Mm.
I guarantee you. And I've been proven right. So
Michael in the chat, he agrees that the ghosting isn't good, and he also says he thinks some publishers are non-confrontational. Is that? I mean, I kind of could see that. Like, there's like the awkwardness of it. Like, what I always hated was having to ask for changes. Like, right? Like, I never had a problem telling someone no in an email. Right? Like, or we can't do that, or like the price isn't going to work, or it's going to cost more money. I didn't like talking money much either, but that's also part of it. But like what really, like, what I hated was when the emails, like when we had to be like, hey, like this part of the cover needs to be fixed, or like he drew this part wrong and this isn't actually in the book, or this was like, I hated like asking for changes like that. But even then, like I would be like, I wouldn't just let it sit and be like, let's wait. Like, cause the cover's not going to change magically. The colors aren't going to fix themselves. But anyway, like even I kind of feel that non-confrontational vibe, but even then, like sometimes you gotta, you don't have to be mean about it, but you have to be like, hey, there's an issue. So I mean, is that couldn't be it, right? It's just like people just being like, oh, I don't know what to say. Like, like I don't, or maybe it is. Maybe everybody,
I think
in
about
publishing
that.
is just spineless little freaks.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's when I talk about unprofessionalism. That's kind of what I talk about as well. Is like, I mean, I don't want to couple it with you're not being confrontational about it, but that's certainly like they fear it. I don't know if that's projection or just me being like, I don't know. I don't want to put a reason onto why they didn't ghost, but it's hard not to when you're a writer with a big imagination and you have your feelings hurt.
Right.
But the thing is, when you get that feeling like it's personal,
Yeah.
just know that everybody else is going through the same
Yeah.
shit. Yep. Like there's nobody in comics who hasn't had a raw deal with a publisher, or B, just gotten ghosted multiple times. Like, if you haven't had those things, I bow down before you. But it's pretty much everybody has had that. And if you haven't, you probably haven't been doing this long enough. Because even big two creators, like, they have those same experiences.
Yeah. I mean, especially I don't, maybe not as much as but it does happen sometimes where like you can get locked into these big two projects, and then what people don't realize is you still have to pitch around your indie ideas, like, and then you have to find time to do those. And then you have to, and so then you have to like balance these like crazy deadlines on top of you. So it's, even like the top writers still have to pitch their stuff to publishers, and there's publishers that, we talk about non-confrontational, like just say like, just Scott Snyder's, I'm just throwing this out there, has some weird idea, and like some publishers like, this is just not for us. But like, could you imagine that? Like, how do you tell Scott Snyder no? Like,
Sure.
like we'll figure it out. We'll just won't say anything. Like that's why I just figured it out, because we can't tell Scott Snyder no.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could probably ghost him, because they'll just move on to someone else real quick anyways.
Yeah.
There's always someone for him.
They know he's like, if they don't reply right away, someone will,
Someone will. Someone will get him. Yeah.
So, it's a different, kind of problem, but it's still, they get, the big name people get told no. They deal with publisher issues. They deal with delays. Everybody's dealing with fucking this crazy fucking diamond shit, and this product being held hostage. Like, I mean, it's gnarly out there right now. And it's funny, we always dive into like the hardships of this, but we talked about it the other week. It was like, there's an addictive part of this industry, and like, as hard as it can hurt you, the rewards are so intense. Like, so I like, dealing with my own shit, right? But I just got a book. I got a couple books. Like, one, I did some Kickstarting consulting, and it kind of helped a friend, and his Kickstarter did real well, and I was proud of him. And it was Anthony Iannacio with Super Guy. He's awesome. He does comics and Chronic. But anyway, like, I got this book, and he sent me a copy and signed it, and it was just like, I didn't do a lot for him, but he like asked me a bunch of questions, and it was stuff I did at work, and I helped him out a little bit. And then I got another one. I got Mary Shelley's the Volume 2 School for Monsters, which like I was heavily involved in like the production side and like guiding the designers and all sorts of shit in that book. And it was just like getting that stuff. And it was like, you think about leaving, you think about like, do I get it? Like, I go just get a fucking normal job, and like, I'll get my paycheck every other week, and like, it'll make sense, and it'll always be the same. And, but I got that shit in the mail, and you see that, and you're like, fuck, man, like, making comics is fucking cool. It's like, it's so cool. I hate how cool it is. And it's just like, well, even if it's not like, these aren't my babies. I'm not writing these. I don't even have fucking kids to model characters off of, Anthony, but like, like these aren't my books, and it's just, I'm like helping with production, and I'm helping friends in the industry. But even then, like, there's an element of pride. And when you see it printed and show up, and you're like, fuck, I helped make that happen, and it's a powerful feeling. And I kind of, I hope everybody realizes that when a lot of us vent, and it's, about this industry and the shit going on, there's also a lot worth sticking around for.
Whenever I do a panel about breaking into comics at a show here, usually in Australia, there's a preface that goes before it, which is that you will hear a lot of doom and gloom in this panel, but it is the best job in the world still. Like, all of that bullshit aside, it truly is a delightful job. And, not all the time, but like 90% of the time where I'm sitting in front of a page trying to hash it out, it's just delightful. It's weird that I get to do this and people give me money for it. I just think that's strange.
Yeah, I remember like I got to do a little bit of writing, like for client writing and like editing and stuff, and it's just like what the hell, or like when you like being in like meetings, like it's a lot of people, like Anthony, you were like, meeting after meeting, and it's like, yeah, so there are a lot more meetings in comics than like anyone ever told me, especially when like you're doing that in the day and then like interviewing people online at night. It's just like, you're just like living on Zoom calls and shit. But anyway, like, it's just, even then, like, you're kind of like, you get like these meetings are sometimes exciting in a way. I remember sitting down at a table, having like a comic book meeting at a bar or dinner, like with people, and I was like, holy shit, like this is like real life happening, and so it's like the weird little moments like that, and it's just, you're like, fuck, it's happening, and then then you don't. Then it gets scared. And then it gets like when people try to take it away from you, and then you're like clawing for it back. Like Anthony, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I kind of do. But you mentioned you're close to a limit. And I've talked to creators like Kevin Cuff and Bob France. Like they write they do Metal Shark Bro, and they did the Skeeters, this awesome mosquito book. Also Mad Cave.
For sure.
But they mentioned too, like they were like we're getting to our last hurrah. Like if like we don't just see like some legit, but like like if some real movement, it's just like Bob delivers mail now and stuff, and they both have families and they have kids and they can't travel to cons everywhere because you're missing with the family anyway. But you kind of mentioned that you were at a moment, you're like on your last straw, close to your last straw. What is it, when you're there though, like what is it that keeps you teetering? Because there's got to be, you got to love it, not to just be like, fuck it, I'm out, like you're to kind of be there and in that spot. Like, what is it about this industry that has its fucking claws in you? How are you're stuffed into this toilet and can't get out?
Yeah, right. I think a lot of it is like, if you can judo flip failure into motivation, you're gonna go far, for sure. But lately for me, it's like not so. It's like a lot of the rejections and ghostings and things like that have kind of put me into a slump that's affecting creativity, I guess.
Okay.
Just sitting on so many pitches, and then it's like, all right, I've got ideas, I'm ready to go, but I'm like, fuck, here we go again.
That's like, so that's all a little bit of a level of burnout, maybe too. Is that like mixed in?
It's
there?
the process that's burning me out. The process of it is kind of that's what's burning me out, and it's like slowing me down creatively, because it's kind of like there's pressure to get it right. There's pressure to do it with what's going on. There's a pressure to I don't know, see what audiences want right now, what readers want. And like, that's kind of swirling in my head. And then like, not so much like, what if you fail again? And like, I know what that's like. So nothing, but it's a different, like seasoned failure. Like I've had like a lot of them in the past, like tons. But now it's like, I think too many at once, I think is fair. Like I've been working and stuff, but it's not like, not what stuff that I want to do,
Yeah.
But no, it's a different, sort of shit I'm trying to work out right now. It's different. It's like, I think it's pushing. When did I start? I don't know. It's like 7 years into it. So it's different now.
That's about right. You were the year before me, weren't you?
I was a year before you, and I was in self-publishing before that, and a few other publishers too, and
Yep.
So yeah.
That's crazy. I'm coming up on like, if I stay, it'll be like I'm coming up on 4 years, 4 or 5. I can't, but it's just it seems like a really long time. And then it sucks too, because now I'm like fucking back to square one. I'm like looking for like we talked about this, Anthony, like looking for like smaller jobs, maybe not necessarily industry jobs. I've really thought about applying at a fucking pizzeria, but I don't have a car right now. So like if I get a job somewhere, I either have to like pay my retired dad to be my Uber, or factor that into like the pay and stuff. And everything's just stupid right now. But yeah, it's like, that's why it's just like, do you keep up with the struggle, or to try and like stay on the party bus? And I'm trying to stay on the party bus. Like I do want to stay.
You got to get creative,
Yeah. That's what I found this. I found a lot of stuff I was good at, but it was just like, I kind of fell into this job where it's just like, oh, we need someone to do this. I'll just have Blake do everything. And it was just like, oh wait, Blake's cracking. Let's get rid of him. We'll bring in help and get rid of Blake. But anyway, that's we're not here to talk about that. But it's just, I feel like that's how a lot of people find work into this industry, whether you're writing, lettering, doing art, or we're doing the production side or marketing side like I am, you just fucking like open your mouth like Kirby and start inhaling and say yes to everything because you're scared to say no. And then and that's like the only way to survive. But then you can only do that for about 3.5 years and then you start fucking up. That's what happened to me. But you know what? It's just like, that's what's scaring me, is it? Because I like, people are telling me, you know, like when they're like, hey, like I want you to, like, these new people I'm working with, they're like, I want you to tell me, like, if you think you're doing too much for the amount of money you're getting, I want you to stop and we need to talk about it. I don't want to take advantage of you. And so like, I'm fine. You know, I'm finding good people, but like no one's doing full-time work right now. It's very hard to find, and you know, like, or it's easy to find full-time work. It's not hard. It's not easy to find full-time pay. They'll work. You can find work for like over 40 hours a week if you don't want to get paid for it. And I'm not talking about anybody hiring me right now. I'm talking about my experience in this industry. So anyway, again, a lot of doom and gloom, but that's some of my shit that I'm dealing with, Anthony, is it's just like, I don't know how long I can work like that without health care. My heart's going to explode or something, you know, like you guys see the food I eat. It's covered in grease and butter. It's like,
jeez.
So, you know, it's just like, I got to think about that too. Like how much more stress and hot dogs can this ticker take?
Yeah. I mean, like,
I ain't giving up the hot dogs. I'm going to live forever, baby. I won't, but I'm going to die eating hot dogs. Probably. Richard Fairgray is really scared of like a toilet breaking and him like dying or bleeding out in a bed. We talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And like, that's gonna be like my fear. Would be like, I'm going to fucking die like choking to death on a hot dog. They're going to fucking find me like my dog's fucking whining around me. He's dead with a glitzy sticking out of my mouth. The stove's smoking because the skillet's still on. Call me Nostradamus because I just saw my future. Oh shit! What a great industry we're in. Bright times ahead for everybody.
But like, okay, to like wrangle this back on course, right? You're talking. What you're talking about is this freelancer anxiety of like, where, like, will I get the next job? To the point where you say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And this is where I will say, one, community is incredibly important, because being surrounded by people who have gone through the exact same thing, because I've done it, I've said yes to too many things, and the work suffers and you suffer, and like it's just a bad time all around, right? But you're not the only one. You're not alone in this, and like you have people who will be there to support you if you reach out. And if you don't, you should really seek that stuff out. There's community exists, you know, on the platform formerly known as Twitter, Bluesky, Instagram, Discord, everywhere you can find people gathering on the internet. Reddit, there'll be people gathering to talk about comic books, and then there'll be people who are also making them. And network with like fellow creators, not just at a levels that is sort of above yours, but like the ones on your level, the real ones. You know, like I couldn't tell you how many times I've, you know, leaned on Charred, for example, or he's leaned on me, and I'm betting that Anthony, you have a similar experience where you know, like. And this whole interaction where we're commiserating about the comic book industry, that's probably 90% of creator interactions between each other, right? But we're all there to support each other, and the rising tide philosophy does work. So if you are stuck or struggling, reach out to your fellow creators and talk about it.
Yeah, it's definitely talk it. Just in general, like the comics life, things are bothering you. Like I had to learn that, you know, sometimes it's hard to talk about stuff, or sometimes it's not. The hard part about talking about stuff isn't necessarily like talking about what's bothering you. It's that notion of like, I don't want to bother somebody by dumping this on them, you know? And that's to me, I'm talking personal shit, but you know, like I've gotten past, you know, like I've gotten past that, and this community has been very, 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 very all just insanely kind to me. People check in on me. Jared's checked in on me. Like, you know, just it's been a really cool community to be a part of. So yeah, and you don't have to be a podcaster or book hyper. You don't have to be like a fucking Kickstarter that just made 10 grand. You know, you can have no idea what you're doing, and there's people that would love to help you and answer questions, or just be there to listen. You know, like when you launch a campaign, it's scary. When you send a pitch to a publisher, it's scary. When you're planning that pitch, it's scary. You know, and it's a lot of people, your friends, like out of industry friends, you know, your family, they probably won't understand that stress, right? Because that happened to me and my family. My family was like, "What do you mean your job stresses you out? You like do comic books. This is your dream. You love it." And I was like, "Yeah, but there's like deadlines are real, you know, like it's
yeah, but I love it. I don't think you understand. I love it."
But you know, it's just a lot of people are just like they just don't realize, like, oh, I didn't realize there was like so much work in publishing, and even like any level of publishing, like, oh, you write fantasy books, you know, like that sounds so fun. I mean, there's so much work involved. And so anyways, finding people in the industry that are dealing with the same shit that you're dealing with, going through the same things you're going through, they're getting told no by publishers, they're watching their Kickstarter on week 2 not moving and stressing and sweating. You know, like it's nice to hop on a Zoom call or hop on a Discord chat or a Facebook or wherever, you know, like it just, you know, just vent in your DMs. It's so much better to do that than to think that like your voice doesn't matter and no one sees you or hears you and go to bed thinking that every night. So I don't know. I don't want to like be cheese dicky, but that's just I agree with you, David. Like, and you know, it's almost every writer I know I've talked to is like, they all mention like some, I mean, it's like the boys group chat, right? But there's almost every creator is in them too, right? And like some with like some big indie people, big name people doing big things, right? And it's just they're there for a reason, you know, bouncing ideas, bouncing drafts, feedback, but also just for friendship and friendly ears when you need them. So
I am a subscriber to the philosophy that like the ones who are making it are just the ones who refuse to quit. But even then, like, I would have thrown in the towel were it not for people like Christoph Borges, Gary Proudly.
Oh my God, what a saint! What a fucking saint of a man!
Just the sweetest human being. And I will forever call him my convention daddy, because he's just like there and the most supportive influence when conventions drive me absolutely crazy. I love them, but they drive me nuts. that much socializing, I've got to like roll into a hole for several weeks after.
You know, on that note, Anthony, you got this new book out. Are you pushing press and doing shows with Alex or anything? Are you doing cons or anything crazy? They got you flying?
Yeah, I mean,
or?
we've been invited, but like just for me to get to Chicago, or not Chicago, I'm in Chicago, and just for me to get to New York or San Diego, yeah, it's like I would love to, but no, I can't. So I mean, I'm trying to do things I can here, and like because this is a regional story, it takes place locally. It's a pretty easy sell for me to go around in comic book shops and do signings and things like that.
Probably
for the
like
most part.
Bookstores and libraries and shit too.
That's absolutely
would probably dig having you out there for that too. I would feel like there'd be the local mass appeal. Real quick, we were talking earlier. It's Sarah Landauer. Sarah's looking for work and doing the applying stuff, and was talking like some of our stresses she mentioned sounded like applying for just like regular jobs right now. So that's good. Thanks for that, Sarah, for reminding us whether we're in this industry or not. We're still going to be dealing with that. Always the bright side, but no, yeah, passion, and as long as you can keep the passion going, and that made me feel good. You know, a lot of people when I got fired, and a lot of people told me like, Well, one person told me that they're like, hey man, pump the brakes, because I got fired the next week. I relaunched my show, which was a lot. I will admit.
Take a hot second. That was a reactionary.
Right, yeah, I was like,
situation.
that was a show made 100% out of spite. But you know, like, it's leading to a good place again, I think. But you know, but someone told me, they were like, hey man, you know, like, just let this thing happen to you and chill. But then also, like, you know, some people didn't realize that, like, I was freelance, and it was just like, you know, there's no collecting unemployment. You know, there's fucking begging at the bank of mom and dad, and they don't have a lot, whether it's a loan or not, they don't have a lot to help either. So anyway, you know, I did kind of make moves too, but a couple people reached out to me, and they're like, you know, man, it's cool to see you, like, you know, trying to get back at it, which is crazy, because like I was feeling like all I feel is like I can't pay my bills, and like, what do I do? You know, and it's just like that, and I still feel that. And so, but it's not. It was a temporary reprieve of like, oh, cool, someone's proud of me. And then later it was like, you broke piece of shit. No, it's just like, that's me when I go to bed. I'm just like, hell, I know it's healthy. That's how I meditate. But you know, it's anyway. That's things are hard, but it's hard for everybody right now. It's fucking shit's just crazy, and I think that's why I love publishing in books, because no matter how crazy things get, you know, and it's like, you can get some cheap books. Like, the lights may go off, and you may not be able to afford HBO Max anymore or Disney Plus or whatever. You may have to go to regular. You may have to let go of Pornhub Premium. It happens, you know. I'm not getting rid of Tidal though. I have to have music. I will be sad without music. But you know, anyway, you can get books for a couple bucks. You can go to a dollar bin and find a read. You know, you can get tons of free books from the library. So like, I don't know what I would do without books. You know, and these fucking comic books are so dramatically tied into that category. I just can't escape it. You know, I don't know. So shout out to Michael for shouting out that beautiful meatloaf I made. I knew we were talking about that when I was talking about hot dogs. They say like hot dogs take like 30, every hot dog takes like 30 minutes off your life or something, which is crazy, because I'm pretty sure they used to say every cigarette takes 7 minutes off your life. You're telling me a fucking hot dog is worse than a cigarette? Okay, pal. Anyway, but I buy all beef Franks. All right, I'm not buying like Oscar Mayer fake shit. I'm not fucking eating pig lips and assholes over here. All right. Been single a long time. Sorry. Anyway, I'm in the weeds. I'm in the weeds now. We're deep into it. But guys, it's getting late, guys, and I've kept you a while, and I'm rambling about weird shit. And so, but I do want to go. I want to rewind it back just a little bit to remind people that there are a whole lot of awesome Mad Cave titles on sale right now. And I don't know if all of them are on sale digitally, but I know there are some volumes of Nottingham. I know there are some volumes of Show's End. And I know you can get the single issues of Buried Long, Long Ago. You can get those all digitally on the website. I think the single issues you can still get at shops. You can add that to your pull list till you can tell shops that you want to order it. And I think you should. I think you should try and track these down. Don't wait for the trade. These guys are doing some big reveals issue to issue, and I think it's going to be a good series to stay around with. And then Dave, we've talked about it a few times tonight, Kosher Mafia, that trades out. It's beautiful. The art inside is bloody and magnificent. The story is good. And I don't know if anybody noticed, there's a lot of fucking Nazi pricks marching around, and it's viscerally wonderful to watch David put them through it.
There was literally a neo-Nazi demonstration in Cleveland on the week issue 1 came out. So
oh wow,
it was a lot. I was like, I don't know if I like this. Like, I already don't like the fact that there are Nazis marching in the streets.
Yeah,
this feels prophetic and weird.
Well, and it's just like the whole deal is because like the whole deal is like these fucking like two guys. Like no one will help. Like everybody sees this problem and they know it's a problem, but no one wants to make a move to stop the problem because of politics and law and money and power. And so these like we're seeing the same fucking thing right now, decades later. You know, these people they won't do anything to stop it. Things keep happening. all I keep hearing about, oh, that's illegal. They can't do that. That's illegal. Then they do it. Then, you know, and it's fucking crazy. So yeah, I love this book, but it's also just a little aggravating to see it mirrored, it's so thematically in the news right now. It sucks. But it's a great
No,
book.
it's not thematically. It's literally.
Literally, yeah.
That's the real
We built a
fuck part.
real camp. It's like we built it.
Well,
Anyway.
that was a real place.
Yeah.
The camp that he goes to is a real place. So yeah, there are some really scary things in the history, and I thought it was like my area of interest in that was like, well, people talk a lot about Nazis in the war, but I think the pre-war period is so much more fascinating. You know, and like, you know, we're sort of going through it again with this, you know, sort of rise of fascism part 2, part, you know, 50 million, but really, as we think about it in the modern world, part 2, right? And it's scary.
I saw a quote. Hold on, see if I can find it. I was hoping you were going to talk longer, David. But you quit talking. I was like, oh, this reminds me of a quote.
So Anthony, what do you think?
Sorry, man,
okay.
I can fill in. Okay, go ahead.
Sinclair Lewis. When fascism comes to America, it will be wrapped in a flag and carrying a cross. I saw this is like someone made a meme out of that. That fucking terrified me. I saw that today. I was just like, so I was like scrolling, you know. I think I was posting about the show. And I was like, you know, kind of, you know, going live, just like scrolling. And I was just like, that hit me. And it is, you know, like we're bringing all this, like this, there's no separation of church and state anymore. And there's just, yeah, it's fucking crazy. I don't even know what's going on anymore, guys. It's fucking weird.
That's why we need to make comic books.
I'm going to come sleep on your couch, David. I'm going to over there in Australia.
We managed to, boot the proto-fascists out, so we I was quite happy this May. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't like. People keep saying like there's hope, but I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to stay. Like I'm not trying to. There's obviously like a reason to like get up, but and you know, like all the marches and the movements and the peaceful protests and stuff, and watching them get nervous about these protests and watching them like having to spin it differently on their channels and broadcasts and vilify it in different ways, like that made me feel good, because I was like, cool, like, because you start to feel like are these people even worried anymore? Like that's what someone mentioned that the other day, and it scared me, and they were like, it's like these people aren't worried about getting reelected. And I was like, oh fuck, like that's terrifying, you know, like they're not worried about leaving anymore, like, you know, and that's gnarly. That's fucking gnarly. So yeah, I'm trying to keep hope alive. But yeah, that's why we need to tell stories, like Jared Luhan talked about. That's why we need authenticity in stories. That's why we need fucking talented people like you guys, you know, digging through the roots of history, finding new things to terrify us and fascinate us with, and, you know, simultaneously like distracting us from the terrible everydayness, but also reminding us of its tendrils are still there and we need to pay attention to it. You know, so, you know, kudos to both of you, and kudos to both of you for like doing that in ways that like doesn't feel like you're doing that. You know, like it feels natural and normal to your stories, and it's just like I'm interested in them. But you remind me of things. And it's usually that like it's usually scary things. It's like, but whatever. I love reading what you guys write. You guys keep freaking me out any day. Real quick, I want to go over you know, if you guys have mailing lists or anything. I know mailing lists are coming back. Everybody's got Substacks. We got new stuff to sign up for. I want to make sure, like, let everybody know where to find you if you got stuff going on or new releases. David, let's start with you.
Yeah, so normal places to find me, my website, davidhazan.com, on Twitter and Instagram as at David T. Hazan, and then on Bluesky at davidhazan. bsky.social.
Oh God, that's just look up David Hazan. It'll pop up.
But in terms of what's coming out, Kosher Mafia Trade obviously is out. From Mad Cave, from Away Blue World, we've got Young Men in Love, New Romance, which I have a story in.
Great short, so good.
Thank you. Next week, the trade for Hello Darkness Volume 2 from Boom Studios comes out. And that's a whole anthology of spooky stories in that kind of like EC Comics sort of vein. And I have a story in that. And then I have the main story in Flash Gordon Quarterly number 4, which comes out on the 30th of July, I believe. And really pumped about that because we get to do some really fun things. And it's my first published time playing with licensed characters.
Oh, cool! Wow, that's a big stepping stone. That's rad.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, no, we'll say that for. I don't want to. We're wrapping up. Let's start a whole new conversation. No, what's it like working in IP work, David? Hold 1 second, Anthony. We'll get to
it.
you.
Was honestly really great. Sarah Brunstad is a fantastic editor, and if you're lucky enough to get to work on some of that stuff, she will absolutely bring in some Marvel artists for you, and it's just. I had a good time.
Oh yeah, stoked to check that out. And Hello Darkness is really cool. I'm really excited to dive more into that. Like David sent me his short, and I've heard people talking about it. But that's a very cool anthology, and they're doing real creepy things. David, I loved you. I loved how you reminded me like to never ever get on those fucking dating apps again. Like, it's like you think about it every now and then. I'm like, man, maybe it'll be different this time. It won't. It'll never be different. Just like me always making someone wait. Anthony, tell us where to find you and where to buy all your stuff and sign up for all your books. And I don't know, can we donate blood to you somewhere? I don't know. Do you need plasma? We'll get it to you. Tell us where.
Oh, God. I'm on the Twitter. No, I'm not on the Twitter. Oh, my God, it's gone. I'm on Bluesky. I'm on IG. We do have a letter column we're trying to get going for Buried Long Ago. So that's buried long ago team at gmail.com. If you're a reader, send us your thoughts. I read the letters and I post them usually on an IG video or whatever. A lot of the letters we've gotten so far have been like, praise, people telling us how they like the issue, which is awesome. But we got a few that were pretty fun. Some scary stories were sent to us.
Oh, cool.
So Buried goes until September. The last issue comes out in September.
4, 5, 6, 5?
Yeah. 5.
5? Okay.
Yeah. So we're at the midpoint right now with number 3. We wrap in September and then we're off. And then in November we get the trade. So we just missed spooky season. Or I guess coming at the tail end of it.
It's still spooky season.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's the last, as soon as it starts getting cold till it warms up again. That's spooky.
Yeah. And
it's always spooky season if you believe. There's always something to get scared about. Watch the news. Anyway, I like how I know I try not to be like crazy political, but it was encouraged for me not to be for a while, so I get to breathe that out every now and then. Anyway, but yeah, I had a real good time talking to both of you, and I had an even better time getting caught up with what you guys have been writing. That was awesome. Fucking catching up with some of your new stuff, David, your new shorts. Like, it's crazy how hard you can hit me and grab me and roll me in a handful of comic pages. Always impressive. Anthony, like I said, dude, it's been a fucking hot minute and a half since I've turned a page and felt that, dude. Like that was cool. And issue 3 was great. Thank you for letting me take a peek at it. I can't wait to see where you and Alex take it. I'm excited. I think it's going to be terrifying. And I think everybody's like, can you tell? I'm excited about these books. Go check them out. And I for real, I think a lot of them are on sale. So like, go. Madcave.com, real easy for you. But yeah, guys, both of you, unless you got anything else left to say, I'll set you free and you can go back to your deadlines and families and designer drugs or whatever the hell you guys do on Wednesdays. at 9:50 Central, 10:50 Eastern.
I'm going back to work. It's almost 1 p.m. here.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're I'm going back to designer. I'm just kidding. I just was talking about how no money I have. Like, so that's I would be. That's why I don't have money. No, it's a joke. That's a joke. It's a joke. I don't have money because I got fired. No, okay. Gotta laugh about it. It's so funny. All right. Anyway, what's it? Everybody who watched tonight, thank you so much. You know, I appreciate you. I really appreciate everybody coming back on this Wednesday night thing. I want to keep it going. Wednesday nights 9. We're going to be live. Whether we'll find someone to talk to. Someone's always got a book coming out or a campaign going. So I really want to keep this going. Thanks for tuning back in. The views are going up. Fucking means a lot. It's very, very, very awesome. And this nomination for the Comic Book Community Award, I don't know who nominated me. I think it was Cole. I love you. Thank you. But I'm excited to kind of start promoting that. So it's cool. It feels good. I appreciate you. Love more, hate less, read books, especially the ones these two dudes wrote. All right, everybody have a wonderful night. We'll see you next Wednesday. I love ya.